We'll go, Coach will give a brief opening statement, and then we're going to go right into questions.
So I know there'll be questions about our personnel and injuries, so I'll just come out and say John Hughley and Rivaldo Soares will not be available to play against TCU tomorrow.
And with that, we'll go to Bob.
Porter, of course, everyone saw your message on social media last night. Why did you feel at this moment it was important to put something out there like that? And do you think it was ever a distraction for your team during the last month?
Not at all. This was the second time I addressed it. Was I think with you 2 or 3 weeks ago in a question. I answered it then, and I answered it last night in a statement. And so I just want to put it to bed again and focus all my thoughts on our team and beating TCU and playing in this advanced Big 12 tournament and the NCAA tournament. So that's I've addressed it twice now.
Porter, you clearly want to stay healthy, but what have the injuries to Javion and John and Waldo showed you about this team that maybe you wouldn't have known otherwise?
Yeah, for us, we stayed healthy almost the whole year, and all of a sudden, 7 games ago, it's been a number of them. So we got to fight through it. I really believe that everyone's going to be back and healthy within a week for the NCAA tournament. So that's the good news. Right now, we're banged up for the Big 12 tournament, but it's shown me this resiliency. Resiliency. I was just thinking about it the other day. Kansas was fully, they were at their full roster. We played them here, and they got us. We competed, and Rivaldo and John were both missing that game. Then we lose Javion, and then Rivaldo's missed some more. John hasn't been back, but he's close. John's very close. He just won't be available tomorrow.
Josh?
Yeah, Porter, kind of piggybacking right off that, after the Cincinnati game, you mentioned you felt absolutely you guys are in the tournament. With that in mind, was that part of the thought process here with let's not rush these guys? We're in good shape to make the tournament regardless of what happens. Let's make sure they're 100% for next week. Was that part of the thought process at all with John and Waldo?
No, because if you know Rivaldo Soares, if he could play, I mean, he wouldn't let me say wait and rest. He's in his last run here. But we do want to make sure that thing is good. I don't want to put him in a long-term thing, but there was no way if Waldo could go for me to say, hey, Waldo, let's hold you back. He'd go, Coach, man, this is my last year. There is no double COVID year. This is it. That kid wants to play so bad, but just for tomorrow, 24 hours from now, I can't. It's not going to happen. But he's very, very close, and who knows after that.
As far as the game tomorrow, obviously the first TCU game was over 2 months ago. What can you take from that game, if anything, to put into tomorrow's game there in KC?
They're as good as transition team in the country. The amount of points they score in transition, and then rebounding. They're so physical. They're very old, experienced. A lot of guys that were in the NCAA tournament last year. They got a ton of pieces, and they're fully healthy back. Getting Uda back gives them a bunch of guys inside that keep rotating through. Their guards are terrific, but you got to be ready for their physicality and the pace they play with. They just, their transition just is unmatched. How fast it goes, and then they crash the glass. So we played them the second conference game of the year. They got us there at their place. We know we got to be better physically, rebounding it. I think that's going to be that transition defense. That's what we got to learn from the Texas game. Our transition defense wasn't great against Texas. And we really got to get back and set that transition defense against TCU.
We'll go to Joe.
Yeah, Porter, given all the rumors yesterday, did you have to reiterate to your guys your commitment? I'm sure, they're online as much as anybody, and they probably saw that as well. I'm just wondering if you had a message for them.
Yeah, it was very simple. It's all false. It's all fake. They know me. They know how absolutely I'm locked into here. So it got to the point where it was so much on social media, and I addressed it. This is the second time I've addressed it now. So I'm not going to address it anymore. I told them that, and they just, we're all full steam ahead on trying to compete and prepare for TCU.
Is the timing especially frustrated given how?
I'm not going to answer anymore. Let's talk about TCU. I've literally addressed it twice, and I've been asking questions here. And I don't know how many more times I got to address it.
Looking to TCU, I know you've been confident that you guys have made your case for the tournament, that you're probably in, but is there any pressure knowing that you probably would feel even more comfortable getting a win under your belt in the Big 12 tournament to kind of finalize that case to make the NCAA tournament?
The pressure is like any game. You're competing to win, and we're doing that against TCU. We feel great about our, where we're at, in terms of that, the resume. But we want to come in here and compete and win a Big 12 tournament. And you got to do that by winning the first. And that's the guy's mindset. I mean, they've been completely locked in. We had a great practice before we left. We had a great practice here in Kansas City. The guys they've been given everything they got. I mean, we've been banged up. They know it. The last 7, we stayed healthy all year. And the last 7, it's just been, it's that time of year. I don't believe anything's long-term going into after this next week. That's the good part of it. But man, these guys have been resilient on how much they've been coming together. We talked a lot about this year. We had 8 starters, and these last couple games have truly had it. Guys like LaTre Darthard is started. He's come off the bench, and those guys, so they're not new to the role of playing a lot because we have considered it having 8 starters all year. And same thing with Rivaldo Soares starting. Ortega's, we're really gonna, he's really had some great practices with it. He's done, he's been there all year for us, playing 25, 30 minutes a game. And I think he's really wired to have a great tournament and a great game tomorrow. So that's what our focus lies in on, is how resilient and together. It's like the Cincinnati game. We had a bunch of guys out. Those fouled out. Javian was out. John was out. And we were guys in different positions. And they were, battling through everything. And that's what I love about the personality of this team. And is that they're resilient, fighting through no matter what the obstacle is. And that's what I love about these guys heading into this Big 12 tournament.
Thanks, Porter.
You got it.
We'll go Gracie, then back to Bob.
Hey, Coach. So just heading into the tournament, all season long, you've had games in the Big 12 and you've had rest, but the potential to have back-to-back games or to have games that are kind of stacked, does that change the game plan or the mindset at all?
No, Gracie, not really. Like we talked about when we have an MTE tournament, like we had to play, Iowa and USC back-to-back. We kind of talk about that, like, that's what's going to happen in the Big 12 tournament is back-to-back. So these guys know we got some guys that have played in conference tournaments, and that's what conference tournaments is, back-to-back. The NCAA tournament, you got a day in between. But conference tournaments, MTE tournaments in Thanksgiving and that time of year, you talk about that, you got to go back to the hotel prep. And, but the other thing is you don't move ahead of it. You got assistants doing the pre-scout of the next 2 teams you could possibly play. Actually, it's 1 with Houston. For us, it's just all one game at a time. Everything's been on TCU. And if you play back-to-back, guys know that from being in it, conference tournaments.
Thank you.
Yep.
And
Bob?
Porter, a little off topic here, but Dayton Forsythe just ended his high school career with his 3rd straight high school championship. What's it been like watching him evolve and get better with every single year? Just,
the pressure on him to keep doing it, to win 3 straight, I went to one of the games there, and then just winners win. And that's what we talked about it with. I talked to him after the championship and just said, enjoy it. You had to fight the pressure of 3-peating and come back. But that's why I'm so excited to have him in our program, because he's wired with that winning DNA. And that's why I'm so excited to coach him. And we talked about it, and, with him, and when he gets here, and just that winning DNA is in him, and it meant so much to him to win. And that's what I loved about him in the recruiting process, and why we wanted to have him here at the University of Oklahoma. And so happy for him and all the guys there, and just a great feat.
We'll go Mason, then John.
Porter, one of the I guess maybe smaller elements of that Texas game was it seemed like Los really got back on track. How have you kind of seen him respond after that Cincinnati game? And with Javian, is he 100%? Is his shoulder good going into this one?
You know, the Jaden part, you know, we'll wait and see. You know, just obviously after a game when he sits out, there's always soreness. But back to your point about Milos, absolutely, we said the same thing. I was talking to him about it in the hotel yesterday. You know, one-on-one, and I felt the same way. I felt he just had an off night, and you know, that's what I love. He had an off night. Javian was out, and we had guys, you know, pick up the slack. And I felt he had a great bounce against Texas. You know, I think he feels he's at his best when he's doing both. He's guarding at a high level and his offense is leading. So, but I thought his offense was very good. You know, I thought he had that confident swag against Texas. The results didn't go our way, and that he's not happy about that. But he definitely is in a great place heading into this tournament.
John?
Hey, Porter, you were clear on the guys' availability for the TCU game, and you said you were hopeful that they would be back next week for the big tournament. What about beyond the rest of this week, beyond tomorrow's game? Is there any clarity there?
No, John. Like we just, I'll be able to know more tomorrow night. You know, it's one of those things day by day with both of them. We just felt that, you know, after practice today, there wasn't going to be a chance for them to go tomorrow. So we'll reevaluate after the game tomorrow. We'll see how they go. That tomorrow night, how they feel, and then we will be able to answer that question a little bit more after that. But I don't look at them both long term. That's what I'm saying. I think we're close to being day by day. It's just not going to be tomorrow.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Any additional questions for Coach? All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Good, Porter.
Thanks, Porter.